WFMY News 2 is digging into today's meeting with state school leaders and how your student's school will be graded in the future. For 2 years now, North Carolina's state lawmakers have been looking into education reform. And today, State Superintendent Catherine Truitt presented a proposed plan to change the state's school performance grade model. And when they want to start making these changes, well, lawmakers use data on how our schools performed in the 2021-2022 school year. And according to the study, more than 2,500 schools in North Carolina had a D or an F. Now, this includes more than 46% of elementary schools, 52% of middle schools, and 23% of high schools. However, the new plan says schools are actually doing better than the old grading system would have made you believe, blaming a system that only looked at test scores alone.
I maintain that having 4 separate grades that are clearly laid out, it tells a parent more than if we just combine them all into one letter grade with a very complicated algorithm.
That was North Carolina's Superintendent of Public Instruction talking about how the new system is designed to pinpoint problem areas for schools that may be doing well one way but struggle to meet standards in another. The proposal found that a lack of accountability, which has left low-performing schools, those with Ds and Fs, with very few forms of support to address specific needs. Now, the new model wants to give each school 4 separate grades that focus on 4 important indicators. 1, academics like reading, math, and science. Student progress is another one, or what you may know as growth. Opportunity, that's grading schools on absentees, climate, and activities provided. And then the last one is readiness there, which grades schools on its ability to prepare students for the future. This proposal creates different tracks for students. And if all of it happens, there could be curriculums for students who want to go to college, who want to enlist in the military, or who want to find a job right out of high school.
Now we're asking you to think specifically about all kids being employed, enlisted, enrolled.
The superintendent of North Carolina's public instruction says these ideas were run by 3 groups to get their feedback and to test the ideas. The list includes national consultants, stakeholders, which would include parents, teachers, school staff, and designers. Also talked to more than 50 superintendents from districts in the state. Now, no part of the new redesigned school grading system will be put into place unless state lawmakers vote to pass it. The proposed model has to go before our North Carolina legislators for a vote on a single bill implementing the plan. And it could happen as soon as April 24th when the General Assembly convenes until it closes all the way at the end of July. So it would have to be sooner rather than later if it really needs to be ready for next fall. If approved, the plan would start in schools that volunteer to participate. Researchers would use the first year to compare the new plan with the old system. The second year, the bill would require all districts to include the program along with the old grading scale so that they could compare the difference, with the goal of pushing out the brand new model in every single school for year 3. So let's kind of dig into how we even got to this point. The committee held its first meeting on the subject in September of 2022, and then 4 meetings were held later that year. In May last year, the committee released a report proposing changes to school accountabilities, and an advisory group of education leaders was formed to review the state's approach to assess public school based on the A through F grades. Today, committee members asked about money. Here's what the state superintendent had to say.
I have not asked this body for money to support low-performing schools to date, and this is exactly why. Because we have to fix this before we can come to you all and say, we need X amount of dollars in personnel who can go in and support low-performing schools. So eventually we would come back for an ask.
You can also blame COVID-19 and virtual learning for performance drops at North Carolina schools as well. For example, grade level proficiency in 5th graders fell in 2020 and 2021 nearly 20% from before the pandemic. 8th graders were less ready for a college or career by about 10%. We do have a full list of current rankings of North Carolina schools on our website. This is the report from the 22-23 school year. It found that students made gains across all grades and subjects since the previous year, but we're still catching up to where they were before the pandemic. If you're wondering about your child's specific school, you can type in the school's name and pull it up. You can find all this information right now on our website, WFMU.